and welcome to another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. I am the DJ, and with me today I have the Professor. Lou.
Hello.
How's it going, Professor?
I'm good. A little bit worried about you going DJ, though.
Hey, it's the new year, and I want to start something positive. Have some enthusiasm going.
Okay, then.
You sound like you sound like a Debbie Downer all of a sudden, Professor. What's going on?
You're disturbing me.
How's it going, Professor? How's your week been?
I've had a good week.
Fun day at the office?
It's always fun at the office.
I don't know. People normally tend to get depressed after the New Year's, when they start going back to work. It's like, holidays are over.
Do people often tell you they're depressed when they have to start working with you again, or is...
Yeah, I feel like that's more of a you problem than a people problem.
I thought it was a people problem more than a you problem. But anyways, also with me today I have Bucky.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm fantastic.
Ooh, you're fantastic. What happened? What happened this time?
Nothing. It's just a good week.
Oh,
nice and peaceful and quiet. There's been rain. The fires are easing off a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So this week we have the topics we would talk about is QTime, so limiting gaming time, cat robots in restaurants, and Studio Ghibli making 2 movies in 2020. So first off, Professor, it's your QTime story.
Yes, and just to be clear, we started looking into this because we've had a request from one of our viewers. Like a few months ago, one viewer requested we look into the child safety of games like Pokemon Go, and we saw an opportunity where we may get a sponsorship for this segment. So we're not being sponsored yet, but we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. So anyway, QTime is a hardware device that sits between your console and your television and connects to your Wi-Fi and monitors the length of time that you spend playing on your console. It's supposed to be compatible with every version of the PlayStation that's on the market at the moment, every version of the Xbox on the market, and you can control it from any model of phone. And the idea is that sitting between the device and the TV as an HDMI interceptor, really, it can overlay timers on the screen to warn the player that their time is running out. And then when time is up, it can cut the signal to the monitor so that the player is unable to continue playing. And the marketing behind it is advertising for parents to be able to monitor their child's game time. But just before we started recording, Buck pointed out a really good point that an adult could use it to help them keep track of their time so that they remember to go to work on time. I mean, I don't know if Buck's hinting that he's forgotten to go to work a couple of times, but...
No. I can just see it as a great way of making sure you remember to do things that are important, such as go to work or put the garbage out, do the washing up, all those semi-boring sort of things that we all tend to forget about.
Now that you mention, I do remember years ago when during my cyber cafe days, I would see in the morning a couple of lawyers would come up to a cyber cafe and play like a couple of hours of World of Warcraft and then leave the cyber cafe going like, yeah, that raid was fun. Yeah, that raid was fun. I got so much loot.
What, before work?
Before work, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how do you know, though, you said lawyers, wasn't it?
Yeah, they would always come up with, they would dress up really formal and they're having on their arms like the lawyer coats.
What's a lawyer coat like?
What? You never saw a lawyer? You never see lawyers on the street like carrying their lawyer coats?
I've seen lots of lawyers. I don't know what a lawyer coat is. Do you mean the frock?
Yeah, the frocks. Yeah, the frocks.
Oh, so they're actually probably law clerks or secretaries of the court.
But yeah, point being that you would see even people working as well, like going to cyber cafes and play a bit of World of Warcraft. That was my point.
Oh, okay. Because people who work don't play games?
Like they would say like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you playing games when you should be working right now? That kind of that kind of the atmosphere to support.
I used to play games on my work computer. My boss used to come in and ask me what my score was.
Oh.
All right, DJ, quit digging your hole. So anyway, since this is a HDMI interceptor, you can use it with any HDMI device, really. So they advertise it for the main consoles, but I expect you could use it with anything. And if it detects that it's being unplugged, it sounds a loud beeping alarm. and sends a text message to the registered phones to let the parents know that it's been bypassed.
It sounds like a good idea. Like, if you're using it for yourself, like the way we were saying before, all you do is you have it so it sends an alarm to one of your friends who's going to sit there and kick you in the pants about it and say, come on, you put it on there for a reason.
Set it to go to your boss, and then they'll know you're never actually taking a proper sickie.
Wouldn't that be classified as an invasion of privacy?
Well, they can already use your Facebook to see if you're...
Actually, no, they're not allowed to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's been a few bosses who have gotten in trouble for that over the years. If they happen to see it accidentally, that's one thing, but they can't actually actively go snooping. If they do that and they get caught out, then they're in trouble as well.
Fair enough.
You can still be sacked, but yeah, they get in trouble.
So the app can be used to monitor game time from anywhere in the world. And it's not limited to just certain times of day. The player can actually choose when they play because it logs gaming time when the console is turned on and an HDMI signal is being passed.
So this could actually even work on your TV as well.
Yeah, so you could hook it up to a DVD player if you wanted to. The biggest disadvantage is that with a PC, it only works on a graphics card with an HDMI cable, and it wouldn't work on a laptop at all because you can't lock down the QTime device can't lock down the laptop screen. But there are other solutions for people who are concerned about that. So overall, I think it's got pretty good coverage.
Sounds pretty decent to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a one-time payment, so the cloud features are free to use. You just buy the hardware device that sits between the console and the TV.
Okay. So what's that all-important price?
I will pull that up.
Just so that any of our listeners who are thinking, I can finally get the kids to get off their backside and go out and do the chores that they're supposed to be doing.
It is $60 on Amazon.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's American or?
Yes, I think it might be $60 US.
I like the backstory to how this device came into being.
And what is that, DJ?
Which is a University of Bath student, a computer science graduate, James Potter, 29, and his businessman father, 57, spent 2 years developing this device on their farm. The aim is to curb the excessive amount of time that some children spend playing video games and help parents enforce time limits. And so James was initially addicted to video games and peak around 40 hours a week, and then try to go cold turkey at the age of 18.
Yes, not an easy path to take.
Yeah.
He must have been very good at Call of Duty or any of those, because otherwise he would have been turning pro at that age.
And I forgot to mention that you can pause the timer in the app, which will cut off the screen. So, but
Obviously,
no trolling, Buck.
that would be so much fun just to put it there, so you can sit there and just go, ding! And just...
Could you?
You're an animal.
Can
I'm
you
just thinking of all the fun you could have at like some of the computer labs around the university.
Oh no!
You have someone right in the middle of a major battle where they're playing their game and ding! And it cuts out on them and they're like, what?
Oh no! Can you imagine the amount of YouTube videos be coming out from that?
Oh, I think I could just created a whole new YouTube channel. People going crazy when their computer cuts out in the middle of League of Legends.
Oh. It'll be like watching an NRL game, and then the final seconds of the game, if it's like a sudden death match, the final second.
That's even better. I could put it in the back of TVs down at the pubs and clubs.
Oh no.
So I just got a phone call. It's from the Hague. They want you to speak to them, Buck.
Bucky, that'll be perfect. Imagine making them watch like a good movie, like Avengers or something, and at the final
Hang on. It's a good movie.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I thought you said good movie.
No, for the kids. Imagine for the kids. Just play like the Avengers Endgame, and then the final few seconds of the Avengers Endgame, think you're like, what happened?
Yeah,
Do
but
this?
kids are used to parents doing that to them already. It's more fun watching a bunch of grown adults that are getting all excited. Like, could you imagine doing it when it's the Super Bowl?
Oh no, no.
Like, I could have so much fun with this. I think
I've
I've just found a whole new sport.
Actually, funnily enough, a couple of years ago, Jimmy Kimmel did a YouTube challenge where he dared people to turn off the TV in the middle of a video game, and the reactions from my god, they are funny to look at. Like some people would just scream like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?"
Uh-huh.
Oh, this. But I can imagine like now just doing it.
I think we should probably get back on topic before I get into trouble. I don't really need help getting into trouble. I do that quite well enough on my own. Sorry, Professor.
Yes, you do. But anyway, the last point I'd like to make is that they have a slider on the website to suggest how much extra study time you can get by locking the console to only 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day, and the number of subjects that they reckon that you could turn from a C to an A. But if you scroll it all the way down to 0 hours, it says a Nobel Prize is coming your way. So apparently they reckon gamers can't win Nobel Prizes, which is an entirely unfair assessment.
This device is it's a nifty idea. I mean, it beats the whole the whole parenting, the old school way of saying, "Hey kids, get to work," and they go, "No."
Yeah, but see, like, I don't know, like when I was growing up, if you didn't do it, you got in trouble, and they'd just take away the TV or whatever. So yeah. So it's the same these days.
But using an app.
Yeah, this is
that makes it better because there's an app
that you can have fun with. So if they start arguing about when you want them to do something, you just push the pause button in the middle of their game.
Or even or minimize the gaming time.
Well, that too, but you can be asking them to do something and they say something rude, so you can just pause it and go, "I beg your pardon." But yeah, I'm liking the idea of this.
Yeah,
it's the item to have when gaming's more important than life, to help you get up out of bed and go to work.
Yeah, like, and it's also great around this time because if you remember a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about how gaming is now a disorder even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this would be perfect around in this current time.
Yep. So I was actually going to ask the professor how he rates it as a useful item, and does he recommend it from his research?
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Okay, so I think it's probably a very useful item for target market, and if as a person who wants to limit their gaming time, I think you could easily repurpose it for that.
Mm-hmm. So you reckon it's a good value item?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's decently priced for what it is. I like that it's not a subscription like everything else is these days.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of the potentially sponsored section.
Awesome.
Yep. So yeah, Bucky, you've got a story about cat robots in restaurants.
Yes. Just recently, one of the great nerd events of the year has occurred, which is the CES, which I can't remember what CES stands for. It's Computers Electronics Show, I think, something like that.
I think it's Consumer Electronics Show.
Consumer Electronics. Probably right. Was held in Las Vegas, and it is literally gadgets and robots and tech to make your eyeballs start bleeding, and is one of the most fantastic events of the year, where there's so many things. It should actually go for like a month because there's so many gadgets there normally that are being released and shown off. This year, one of them is a robot cat designed to ferry plates in restaurants. So the Bellabot, which was designed by Chinese company Pudu Tech, has a number of crazy robot inventions shown this year. And yeah, it's actually pretty cool. There's also UB Tech's Walker, which can pull yoga poses. So, like, literally the list of crazy stuff that comes out is just amazing. But the RoboCat is a robot that walks around, runs around. It looks like it's on one of those rhombas. So I don't know if they've actually got the vacuum thing going on underneath as well, but it'd be a good idea. Clean the floor as you go, sort of thing. And it has 4 tiers of trays where you have your food, and it has a screen that has cat emojis showing up. So when you get your food, you can give it a bit of a scratch on it. It's got special ears. If you do it too long, it gets irritated, and it shows that. So yeah, so it's actually an interactive robot.
There's a cafe in North Brisbane where they have cats wandering the cafe floor. I feel like this would be much better because you can't have cat allergies with robots.
Yes, although the cat cafe is for people to go and cuddle cats. Unlike there's a video I saw on YouTube where someone you're ordering which cat you're going to cuddle. I think it was Jamie's Main, Japan. And he's going, I'll have that cat for my lunch. Meaning he wanted to cuddle that cat, but it sounds like he's actually asking them to cook it for him.
So why wouldn't you want to cuddle the robot cat?
I don't know if you've actually looked at the pictures of it, but it doesn't look particularly cuddly. It's got big open sides for the trays and all that sort of.
All right.
I can go with the scratching the ears thing. Like when you first do it, especially if your hands warm, it'll react accordingly. So it pulls different emoji faces on the front of it depending on what the stimulus is.
I like this. If you pat it for too long, it gets mad because you're interrupting its job.
Yeah.
That sounds like every cat I've ever seen. Now all it needs is to just pop out some claws and tear you up.
But it also makes a mewing noise to attract the attention of the customer when it arrives at the table with their food. So it's a robot that actually meows to let you know it's there. So yeah, like literally, it's pretty cool. Like as I was saying before about the walker robot, it does the yoga poses. Apparently, the developers have said it will not buy you a quinoa salad afterwards, though. You got to go do that yourself. So, like literally, this is one of those things where I'll sit and I'll watch videos and so forth out of this because there's just so many amazing gadgets and so forth that come out. So literally, if you want to buy one, I don't know whether it's actually released on the market for purchase, but if you do buy one, please let me know what you think, and also let us know if it does actually have the Roomba vacuum cleaner thing going underneath it at the same time. Which, if it was actually a proper cat robot, it would see the little tail and it would start chasing it.
Can you see these in any of the Australian restaurants?
Actually, I probably could. Like, there's to an extent. There's a growing culture of respect and embracing technology in restaurants in Australia. So I could actually see this being utilised in some of them.
Yeah, but my concern with these types of robots is the spaces, because some Australian restaurants can be really small. So imagine these things moving around in small areas would be really cumbersome.
Well, it's probably not wider than a person, so it should be able to get through. My major concern would be more food safety, but
yeah, that could also be a problem as well. Yeah.
But here's the I've just come across a even better robot, the Rollbot from Procter and Gamble. For those times when you get caught out and you need a fresh roll of paper, Rollbot is summoned via Bluetooth on a smartphone.
Imagine doing your business in the middle of in the toilet and you just go, okay, robot.
Sounds very useful to me.
Where else are you going to do your business? What, you're going to do it out in the middle of the driveway?
I was thinking more of the in the middle of the outback toilet. Robot works.
Well, it's only accessible by Bluetooth, which has a moderately limited range. So, yeah. But honestly, it's one of the more intelligent robots I've seen. But yeah, pretty much that's all I've got on the show at the moment. So if I find anything else exciting, I'll post up some pictures on Facebook page and in the group and try and see if anyone else sees anything from out of the show. Let us know what you think was the best one in our Facebook group on the Nerds Amalgamated page.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what's the craziest and which is the coolest invention that you guys find this year.
Okay, anyways, so finally, final topic for tonight is My story about Studio Ghibli. So, while most of Hollywood was being blasted by Ricky Gervais's opening monologue and by Joaquin Phoenix winning the Best Actor award at this year's Golden Globes, the anime world was reeling from its own blast. A blast of good news. The annual Studio Ghibli New Year's message. And we have some good news. So, according to their New Year's message, they're working on 2 new films, and it was also recapping the official announcements such as the first Studio Ghibli theme park, which is to open in Japan's Nagakute City in 2022, and the adaptation of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind into a kabuki stage play. That's some great announcements, wouldn't you agree, fellas?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first film is going to be directed by none other than Hayao Miyazaki, which has been taken over a couple of years, and it's titled Kimitachi wa do Ikaru, which is translated to How Do You Live, which is taken from a 1937 novel written by Genzaburo Yoshino, which is a coming-of-age adventure fantasy following the 15-year-old Koperu and his uncle. So this will be the first film Miyazaki's made since he came out of retirement in 2016, and we haven't heard any details for the second film, unfortunately. So yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. But the story for it, it's an interesting story. So the novel itself talks about Junichiro Honda. So he's a 15-year-old kid who has been nicknamed Koperu, which is named after the astronomer Copernicus. He's a gifted student, and his father and mother both are both working adults. And so after his dad had suddenly died, his Koperu is forced to live with his uncle, and there are many children of businessmen, university professors, and doctors and classmates. And so Koperu experiences various events in school life with friends. So basically, it's a coming of age novel, basically.
Ah, really?
Yeah. So it's basically from his eyes, we look at like the rites of passages such as the view of things, structure of societies, relations, friendships, whatnot.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah. So at the end, I don't want to spoil the ending of the novel. So yeah.
You don't?
No,
Okay.
I don't want to.
Say it in your American accent so no one can understand you.
But yeah, this movie was supposed to, the problem with this movie though was it never had an established deadline. So it was supposed to be coming out in the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, but the producer, who is Miyazaki's longtime producer, Toshio Suzuki, basically said that this project will be released somewhere between 2021 and 2022. And the film, as of October last year, the film's only 15% done.
But you can't rush a Miyazaki masterpiece. Like, the man has produced what has got to be a library of some of the most brilliant artwork. And with whether you're looking at the animation or the music, whatever, and all of the stories, like you end up like you end up with your heart in your mouth most of the time, just because the stories are just so well developed. So I'm not going to complain. Hey, the Olympics have got Goku, so they got someone screaming and being crazy, so they're fine.
I know. I thought there was more. There were more mascots. There was besides Goku, there was like Sailor Moon and Pikachu. So it's not just one. It's just a whole lot of mascots.
Okay, well, there you go. See, so they can do without another movie.
But what do you guys think of the story for this movie, though?
I reckon it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I am a fan of Miyazaki.
Mm-hmm. So I found some very interesting information about this, about the story. So, for example, the format is basically talks about alternate viewpoints and storytelling between Koperu and his uncle. So Koperu narrates his life at school, while his uncle narrates his experience helping his nephew dealing with the struggles. The themes, for example, it deals with struggles of growing up as a human being. Much of the aspect of growing up involves dealing with people who are in opposition to the person, bullying, and philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and publication. So this book is one of the Nihon Soshan Book Bunko series. So it is intended to convey knowledge and ideas of free and progressive culture to school children in Japan. However, many of the works were discouraged by the rise of Japanese militarism in 1930. So yeah, this is more of a civics and ethics textbook kind of.
Ah, okay.
So it's knocking off The Good Place because epics are really trendy now because of The Good Place.
Yeah, but Miyazaki's going to be better than this.
Yeah. I think it's a good story in this current climate where everyone's just being divided and whatnot. So I think it's a good story to cover, like a good movie to show at this current climate. As the author points out that the book is meant to call out to the person, a human being capable of self-living way, was then a limited privileged boys at the time. So basically it tells people to think for yourself and live out the way you want to live, basically. That's the end message the author wants to convey.
So, do we have any idea of what the second movie's going to be? Or is there nothing on that?
There's no details on that. I think Studio Ghibli is planning to just slowly reveal it.
Okay.
So we might get something far off Miyazaki's work, or we might get something close to Miyazaki, but not Miyazaki per se.
Okay. One of the things I find interesting in the article here is when HBO Max is available for download in May, viewers will have access to the 21 Ghibli films. So that's looking pretty cool.
Yeah, and also here's an interesting fact for you guys. The reason why Miyazaki is taking his long time to finish this film, he said that his younger age he used to produce 10 minutes of animation every month, but now his speed is reduced to 1 minute per month, and that's the reason behind the film dragging its release date.
I can appreciate that.
How old is he these days?
He's around 79.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. I mean, most 79-year-olds would have already retired.
Well, he has, but he's come back out of retirement.
Ah.
I mean, how many times has Miyazaki retired and came back now? Like, it's like fourth time or fifth time, if I recall?
I don't know. It's just he comes up with new ideas that he decides he wants to pursue, and all I can say is thank you, because he's literally one of the people making the world a better place with his art. Like he's one of the most beloved animators in the world. Like there was, I think it was the 25th anniversary of Studio Ghibli. They had a massive festival in Japan where they had, I think, I can't remember which orchestra it was, but it was the Tokyo Philharmonic or something. They played a massive concert of all the Studio Ghibli songs.
Yeah.
And the audience was all wearing suits and all dressed up, and there were very few young people in there. It was all various ages, and everyone was loving it. I'm just trying to find some information on that concert here.
What's interesting though with the stream with Studio Ghibli being in HBO Max is how Ghibli's American distributor have always been vehemently opposed to streaming, and now when this offer has been coming out there, you don't hear anything from them.
Yeah. I can't see who the orchestra was, but they've got a massive orchestra and a couple of choirs. Like there's a children's choir and an adults choir in the background, and it goes for about 2 hours. So we'll have the link in the show notes for people if they want to go and check it out.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for more information about Miyazaki, how many times he's retired, and they're all saying he's retired so many times that I think they've lost count, basically.
Well, at that point, it just Miyazaki retired must be Tuesday.
He lives a very humble life. Like there's pictures of him you see around the place, and he's always very quiet and unassuming. Like he did a trip to Germany back when he was younger, and he's walking around, and you wouldn't notice him because of the fact that he was just so quiet.
Miyazaki doing all the retiring, it kind of reminds me of those sports stars that would say like, yeah, I'm retiring from the sport, and then a couple of years later you say like, I'm doing my triumphant return to sport, and you're going, really? You're coming back after all these years? What were you what are you doing? Like, what's the best example? Ian Thorpe, for example, how he retire and then come back and then retire again. But you reckon this will be the final time he retires, or you reckon he'll do more? I mean, it seems like him making more movies is not a sign of him giving up yet.
Honestly, I hope he keeps going. Like, if he has an idea he wants to pursue, then yeah, like he's earned the respect that we should all take notice.
That's fair. Anyways, so moving along, Buck, what games have you been playing?
I've been playing a game called Desert Order.
Ooh, sounds nice.
It is. Would you like me to tell you more about it, or
Yes,
that it?
please.
Okay. It's an online real-time strategy game where you start off with one base on a map somewhere, and you build it up. You have to build up your resource supply train. It's pretty much World War II era. So yeah, you form up in parts of different factions and alliances and try to take control of the map. And you can take different bases where there's air bases and naval bases. And yeah, you build up your resources, you build up your limitations on bases and military groups that you can have. So yeah, you become a bit of a scary warlord who's got an airport, a naval base, and numerous other bases. Run around with your own submarine on a river and tanks and bombers. You can have stealth bombers too. So,
Oh, dude.
which is the old Delta Wing style bomber, but it's pretty cool. But I took a base earlier on today with a couple of people, and we just have the Illusion Sturmowik, which was a German bomber. It's only medium and it's armed with bombs and rockets, but it's great for attacking ground vehicles and ground units. So when you're attacking a base, you send in some cannon fodder to distract all the anti-air force guns, and then you send in a couple of flights of bombers. And yeah, I think we had, because I've got 4 wings of these bombers, which are 5 planes each, and I had a couple of other people, they sent theirs in as well. So we ended up with, I think it was 7 wings flying over the top at a time. The amount of bombs that were dropping down was just like it was a thunderstorm of bombs dropping from the sky. But the stealth bomber is the Ho 229, which is a German prototype bomber, which was a giant Delta Wing, 2 jet engines. So yes, it's quite a lot of fun.
So what's the biggest flaw you've encountered?
The need for gold to expand above a certain size. Like you can do certain mission achievements to get gold and so forth, but to unlock certain buildings and so forth and upgrade them, you need gold. And yeah, it can be cumbersome trying to generate the gold through the missions. So you get some people who are buying gold, and yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the neck, but overall, yeah, the game's a whole lot of fun.
So how many nerdy beanies out of 10 would you give this game at?
I'm only going to give it 3.5 just because of the issue with the gold. But other than that, like the graphics and everything is just really cool.
Wow, 3.5 out of 10? Wow, that's
No, 3.5 out of 5.
Ah, okay. I said out of 10, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, messing things up, DJ.
Well, see, I did tell you I was going over to the professor's scale.
The far superior 10-point scale.
Hey?
The far superior 10-point scale.
I went to your 5-point scale. You're saying the 10-point scale is better. Which is what I went with originally.
No, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Okay.
It's all the DJ's fault.
Buck and I were going through the 5-point scale. You, Professor, went initially to the 10-point scale.
No.
Then a couple of weeks ago, Professor went for the 5-point scale, and we went to the 10-point scale.
See? No wonder I'm confused.
Jesus Christ.
No, I've drunk my beard. I'm not quite that majestic.
So 3.5 out of 5. Hey, that's a good score. That's a good score.
Yeah. So I got hold of a naval base yesterday, and I built up on my defenses on it, and I've now got a warship, a squad of torpedo boats, a submarine, and fast attack boats. So
Nice.
I now control that section of because the submarines aren't easily detectable, so they're stealth.
So I do recall once upon a time you did play a similar sort of game called Company of Heroes. So what's the difference between Desert Storm and Company of Heroes? Have you seen any differences, like subtle differences or big differences between those two?
Completely different. This is Company Heroes was very generic sort of gameplay. And you were stuck on it was the theater of war of Europe, and it was literally you could only go through certain cities, and you were limited by what generals you unlocked, and this is you don't have the generals. You're the general. You just build up your troops and squads and so forth. So you don't have any infantry. You have vehicles, and it's just an open sandbox. So there's bases around the place to go and attack. You can send your vehicles, whether it's the land vehicles, you can send them anywhere where there's land. Your planes you can have flying anywhere. You've got helicopters. You got your boats can go anywhere there's rivers. You can attack from land onto the boats. You can attack from boats onto land and take bases and so forth. You can actually steal harbours from other players from on the water.
So that's in Desert Storm. You can steal the
Desert
harbours. Oh yeah, Desert Order. Yep. Okay.
No, not Desert Storm. I'm not the Americans invading Iraq.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around these days. So, Professor, what game have you been playing?
I've still been playing the Final Fantasy Adventure remake.
Oh.
I think I'm about 3/4 of the way through the game. I'll probably wrap it up soon, but I'm still really enjoying it. I still prefer the remake though, but not the remake, sorry. I'm playing the original in the emulator on the Switch. So the re-release. I still prefer the remake sort of manner, but yeah, it's still a fun game. Feels like an oldie Zelda.
So, what's the biggest flaw you've encountered in that game?
The enemies, some of the enemies fly or jump, and they are way too hard to hit with your sword because there's no parallax really. So it's really hard to tell where the enemy is in relation to the ground.
Okay.
And it's the same old turn-based combat system and not like the newer combat systems they have.
No, this is an action game. Final Fantasy Adventure was a action spin-off of Final Fantasy.
Oh.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
How would you rate this game? How many nerdy beanies?
Can't remember. What did I rate it last week?
For your manner of collection,
Yeah.
you rated it. You rated 5 out of 10.
Yeah, so this is that game, the same game.
Okay.
So you're not changing your score?
No, I don't think so. I will probably rate the Trials of Mana and A Secret of Mana differently, but I'm not a huge fan of Final Fantasy Adventure.
So 5 out of 10, that's a pretty interesting score. What are the other biggest flaws besides the enemy that you've encountered?
Well, it's a Game Boy game, so the backgrounds and sprites are extremely limited, which part of the style of the early 90s, of course, but it means that all the locations look roughly the same.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter where in the world you go, it still looks like it's just around the corner where you start.
Yeah, and it's so because there's only a handful of grass sprites, like one grass sprite, one rock sprite, there's no real distinguishing between the locations. You just have to go by memory. And there is a map, but it's not very useful. It shows you where you are relative to towns, but you can't tell which town is represented by which dot on the map. And so it's got a lot of quality of life stuff that probably just wasn't possible on a Game Boy.
So nobody's actually developed a fan map of it where they've got all the towns all labeled out, available?
You know what? They probably have, but I've been playing on my Switch, so I haven't been able to look it up because I'm mostly playing on the bus and stuff.
Okay.
So would you use any strategy guides, though, just in case for this game?
No, I don't feel the need to because I've played the remake and it story-wise and plot-wise, it's all very similar. So I'm not really finding the need to look up any sort of strategy guides.
Okay.
And what have you been playing, DJ?
I have been playing a game called Watches. It's basically a PUBG style game where you basically go around the map, you find weapons and ammo and aids like first aid, armor serums and stuff like that, and you get to kill each other.
Okay, so it's a battle royale, but this isn't first person. This is
third person.
Looking down. Yeah.
This is more third person, and the interesting part about this is the animation style. So it's not like PUBG where it's just it's just visually accurate. It's more simplistic, and the map itself, it's very big. It would be very big, and The ammo as well. You can create your own ammo. You can also get some perks as well for every round.
So how long does a round of watches last?
A round of watches can go from 5 minutes to about 15 minutes.
And what's the gimmick that makes it different to PUBG, Fortnite, or something like Rapture Rejects? Because Rapture Rejects has the top-down and crafting as well.
Yeah, the difference with this one is when you get killed, you become a watcher, and you pick out who's the favorite character that's going to survive this round. You can make bets on who kills, who's going to kill, who's going to make a kill. And once you get that kill, if you win the bet, you get a lot of energy, and you also have the power to put weapons perks or put obstacles onto the map.
So it's basically like having Twitch integration, because there's a lot of games where viewers can vote on how they're going to mess with the streamer.
Yeah. So, like for example, so I can die. So once I get killed, I would also get I would have an option to put raise the dead, for example. So I can put 3 zombies on the map, and it could damage players and it could kill them basically.
Okay, you missed one of the major perks that I say.
Which is?
It's got pink flamingos beside the pool.
I have not yet seen that one. I've seen slow time. I've seen explosive rounds. I've seen Wake the Dead, but I haven't seen the others yet. So
I'm not sure if the pink flamingos are just. I think they're just scenery.
Yeah,
they've actually got pink flamingos with shadows, and the shadows are accurate. And you can kill next to the pool. Do you actually get to go through the pool?
I think no, not necessarily. Yeah. There are some aspects of the scenery you can't do in this game,
because there's lots of gore that I'm seeing there. There's a guy who's just been shot, and there's a massive blood on the ground underneath. So probably not necessarily child friendly on that regard. So
I thought you were gonna say the magical words.
Honestly, if it's not child friendly, it's probably not friendly for you, DJ.
Oh, I was gonna say along the lines of this game would not be possible in certain countries.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
This game would not be suitable in China, for example.
Really? Why not?
The whole blood, the violence.
Islands on the ban list? Because I don't think it's islands so much to have a problem with. It's a couple of very specific islands.
Yeah, another cool thing is they've got gas grenades.
Oh yeah.
Although with the screenshot that they've got on Steam, looks like someone's just got a really bad case of gas. Because if they're throwing the grenade right behind where the guy was standing, so it looks like he's let rip an absolute monster. But then there's something where in one of the other screenshots there's beams of light coming down. I don't know whether they're coming down from the sky to the ground or going up into the sky.
They come down from the sky. So one of the perks is a death ray, and if you put it on a certain location, if any of the players are in that line of sight, they die. They lose their health pretty quickly.
So when line of sight, I mean, it's got to hit them, or are they just got to be within a certain vicinity?
Certain vicinity.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
there's 3 narrow beams hitting the ground in a car park, and but it's definitely set in America because it's outside a donut shop.
Yeah, this the time. It's interesting that now you mentioned the characters are all based in 1970s characters. So this is and the music for this game. It's all Nate King Cole type music, old jazz, old 70s music. I
was actually thinking more the 50s and the 60s from some of the stuff I've seen in this.
Yeah, so we run more we're playing jazz music, so it's kind of while you're playing PUBG, you get playing this game. It's like playing PUBG with jazz music. You're like, oh my god, what's with this jazz music? So I'm assuming none of you guys are gonna tell me what's the biggest flaws for this game.
Well, we can't tell you because we haven't played it.
Okay, so I'll say it. And the biggest flaws I found in this game is more of when you're playing it from the top down, the controls are cumbersome at times, and the other problem with this game I've also encountered is there's no jump function as well. So every time you try and jump, you can't jump. You just basically roll in this game.
Okay.
Well, it's not the first game to not have jumping.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at one of the screenshots, and it's very some of the characteristics are very reminiscent of Fallout, just with the coloration and so forth, the general schema.
Yeah, and the other thing that you also have to take into consideration is you have to wait a long time to get into a game, because sometimes you can wait up to 10 minutes just to get into a game as well.
Okay.
Oh, and another interesting part about this game. So once you hit the final 3, all the perks, all the bets are off. So it's just basically last man standing. No perks, no bets. It's just your favorite. If you chose that, if your favorite is one of the last 3, that's the other interesting thing about this game as well.
I'm finding it interesting. Like, I was talking about the pool just before, and the thing that's interesting is the fact that the pool's just in the middle of town. Like, you got streets on 3 sides and a park, flamingos, but then next to the pool's a hot dog stand. Who came up with this map?
Hey, it's based on the map is huge, so there are certain.
But it's just weird having a pool sit in the middle of town. Like,
yeah, there are various zones as well in this map as well. So there you got the trailer park zone, you've got the you got the city zone,
the farming
you got the parking
zone.
lot. Yeah, the parking lot. So yeah. In terms of nerdy beanies, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Cool.
So there is room for improvement, but it's a good game. So yeah.
Hang on, I just noticed you can have is that a tennis racket or a frying pan as a weapon?
I think that's a tennis racket.
So you can play tennis with someone's head. I can go with that.
Yeah.
Except you can't really do stealth attacks in it, can you?
Nah, you can't. It's open shootouts, and you can do melee combat. That's it. You can't do stealth kills. You can't do other types. So yeah, you can't. You could do a trap kills, but you have to time it very precisely. Like throw a grenade at a certain spot where the person is. So yeah, it comes down to timing at the end. So
alrighty.
Yep. Anyway, so moving on to our shout outs. On the 4th of January 2019, Tom Long passed away. Tom Long, an Australian film and television actor. He played court official and avid surfer Angus in the late 1990s TV series Sea Change, and Brendan Abbott in the 2003 Australian TV movie The Postcard Bandit. He was also in the movie The Dish as Glenn Latham. Comedian Jane Kennedy, a writer and producer for The Dish, said Long was, and I quote, "one of the most modest and talented human beings I've had the privilege to work with." He died of encephalitis at the age of 51. 5th of January 2019, Hayao Miyazaki celebrated his 79th birthday. A co-founder of Studio Ghibli, a film and animation studio, he has attained international acclaim as the masterful storyteller and a maker of animated feature films, and is widely regarded as one of the most accomplished filmmakers in the animation business. 6th of January 1994, Washington State University's research moose, Morty, who strolled to fame in the opening credits of the CBS TV series Northern Exposure, has died. The moose died of cobalt and copper deficiency. 6th of January 2019, Australian comedian Celeste Barber has raised more than $46 million for the Trustee for New South Wales Rural Fire Service and Brigades Donation Fund. And I think I think the number is raised to now, it's now 20. Okay, that's a lot of money. So it's saying
How
London
much is
money. Okay, so London money wise, 26,175,726 pounds.
Yeah, that'd be over 50 million.
Yeah, that's a
The thing I find interesting is she challenged Gina Reinhardt to put some money up.
Yeah, well, I did recall Andrew Forrest has decided to put 70 million into the Fiery, so that's impressive.
Well, he is extremely rich. Like, Gina the Hutt is much richer than that.
Yeah, let me I think 50 million. So the target's now raised to 50 million now. So yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. To our remembrances now. So on the 6th of January 1990, Pavel Alexeyevich Cherenkov, Soviet physicist who shared the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1958 with Ilya Frank and Igor Tamm for the discovery of Cherenkov radiation, made in 1934. Cherenkov observed the emission of blue light from a bottle of water subjected to radioactive bombardment. This phenomenon, associated with charged atomic particles moved at velocities greater than the phase velocity of light, proved to be of great importance in subsequent experimental work in nuclear physics and for the study of cosmic rays. It was later dubbed the Cherenkov effect, as was the Cherenkov detector, which has become the standard piece of equipment in atomic research for observing the existence and velocity of high-speed particles. He died at the age of
pretty blue glow.
Oh yeah.
So shiny.
He died at the age of 85 in Moscow, Russia, SFSR. 6th of January 1990, Ian Charleston, Scottish stage and film actor. He is best known internationally for his starring role as Olympic athlete and missionary Eric Liddell in the Oscar-winning 1981 film Chariots of Fire. He is also well known for his portrayal of Reverend Charlie Andrews in the 1982 Oscar award-winning film Gandhi. He performed numerous Shakespearean roles, and in 1991, the annual Ian Charleston Awards were established, particularly in honor of his final Hamlet. The awards reward the best classical stage performances in Britain by actors aged under 30. Ian McClellan said Charleston was, and I quote, the most unmannered and unactorish of actors, always truthful and always honest. He died of AIDS-related causes at the age of 40 in London. So young.
Yeah, so you say age-related causes?
AIDS,
yeah,
not age.
AIDS. And here's this. Here's a further thing to add in. Charleston requested that to be announced that he died of AIDS in order to publicize the condition. This unusual decision by a major internationally known actor, the first show business death in the United Kingdom openly attributed to complications from AIDS, helped promote awareness of HIV and AIDS and acceptance of AIDS patients. So yeah. 6th of January 1997, Catherine Scorsese, American actress and the mother of director Martin Scorsese. Of Italian descent, she began acting when her son Martin Scorsese cast her in her film It's Not Just You, Murray. She frequently played in the role of an Italian mother and is perhaps most well known for her appearance in her son's film Goodfellas as Mrs. DeVito, Tommy's mother. She acted in films other than her son's. She was married to Charles Scorsese. Her father, Martin Kappa, was a stage coordinator, and her mother, Dominica, was a shop owner. She published the recipe book Italian American, The Scorsese Family Cook. She died from Alzheimer's disease at the age of 84 in Manhattan, New York. And on to our famous birthdays. On the 6th of January 1822, Heinrich Schliemann, a German businessman and a pioneer in the field of archaeology. He was an advocate of the historicity of places mentioned in the works of Homer, an archaeological excavator of Hisarlik, now presumed to be the site of Troy, along with the Mycenaean sites, Mycenae and Tyrannus. His works lent weight to the idea that Homer's Iliad reflects historical events. Schliemann's excavation of 9 levels of archaeological remains with dynamite has been criticized as destructive of significant historical artifacts, including the level that is believed to be the historical Troy. Schliemann's famous finds include Priam's treasure, a cache of gold jewelry discovered in 1873. Schliemann was also the excavator of the Bronze Age site of Mycenae in North Greece, where he found the so-called Mask of Agamemnon in 1876. He was born in Neubukau, Mecklenburg-Schwerin.
Picked a lot of fun words for you this week, haven't we?
Oh yeah. 6th of January 1954, Yoji Horii, a Japanese video game designer and scenario writer best known as the creator of the Dragon Quest series of role-playing games, supervising and writing the scenario for Chrono Trigger, as well as for the first visual novel adventure game, Portopia Serial Murder Case. In Chrono Trigger, Horii appeared in one of the endings with game development staff. He was born in Sumamoto, Hyogo. You ever played Chrono Trigger, by the way, Professor?
No, I haven't.
Fun game.
Yeah, I've heard it is.
6th of January 1955. Rowan Atkinson, English actor, comedian, and writer. He's best known for his work on the sitcoms Blackadder and Mr. Bean. Atkinson first came to prominence in the BBC sketch comedy show Not the 9 O'Clock News, receiving the 1981 BAFTA for the Best Entertainment Performance, and via his participation in The Secret Policeman's Ball. His other works include James Bond's film You Never Say Never Again, playing a bumbling vicar in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, voicing the red-billed hornbill Sazu in The Lion King, and playing jewelry salesman Rufus in Love Actually. Best known for his use of physical comedy in his Mr. Bean persona, Atkinson's other characters rely more on language. Atkinson often plays authority figures speaking absurd lines with a completely deadpan delivery. He was born in Consett, County Durham.
Durham.
Thank you.
You remember his line in 4 Weddings and a Funeral?
No, enlighten me.
It's when he's conducting the wedding, then he goes, "Do you take this woman to be your fully wedded wife?"
Oh, I need to rewatch that movie. It's been a while since I last saw that one. Yeah, I remember there was a remake to that movie, but
Was there?
yeah, they remade that movie as well. Or was it Death at a Funeral? It was either one of them, but yeah.
You know, in Love Actually, there's a theory his character was an angel.
Was there?
Yes, because he keeps popping up everywhere and interfering.
So
was he actually a angel, or was he just an American?
There's a mini series actually for this for 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Doesn't have the original cast, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So bizarre.
Would have been fun though, but moving along to our events of interest. On the 6th of January 1873.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say, here's an interesting thing about Rowan Atkinson. Not a lot of people will be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
He has a master's degree in electrical engineering, an undergraduate degree in electrical engineering, but his master's was at Queen's College, Oxford. So, yeah, he did have his backup career.
Yeah, there's a lot of comedians who have really advanced degrees.
Well, that's where he met Stephen Fry, and Hugh Laurie was at Oxford.
Do you know what Fry and Laurie were studying?
Not off the top of my head. I'll just check. Stephen Fry was technically he should have been allowed to graduate university because he had a criminal history, but nobody asked him.
Oh, what did Stephen Fry do?
Credit card fraud and a few other things. He was self-medicating to control his bipolar disorder.
Wow.
So he wasn't diagnosed at the time. Yeah, he was taking cocaine to pick himself up when he was feeling down, and marijuana to calm himself down when he was too excited. So Stephen Fry, he was awarded a scholarship to study English at Queen's College, Cambridge. Can't see what he actually got a degree. He's got an honorary degree from Anglia Ruskin University. So they may have actually retracted his degree when they found out he had a criminal history, because he was imprisoned for 3 months. So yeah,
he's got a scholarship for matriculation in the autumn.
So that's Stephen Fry. Hugh Laurie. Oh, hang on, here we go. Hugh Laurie actually, I didn't even realise this before, actually went to Eton College. Went to Cambridge. So yeah, it's funny that Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie were at Cambridge and Oxford, but yeah, Laurie grew up in Oxford though, but then went to Cambridge for college uni. So apparently he was an oarsman at college, but he suffered glandular fever, so he had to give it up. Can't see what he actually achieved as sorry, that's I can't see the answer to that question on him.
We'll forgive you this time, Buck.
Oh, hang on. He studied archaeology and anthropology, specialising in social anthropology, and graduated with 3rd-class honours. There you go.
That's pretty serious.
Yeah.
So, like, three certifiable geniuses were the best of friends. Like, Rowan Atkinson's got an IQ of 178, which puts him up there in the realms of Stephen Hawking and Albert Einstein.
Can you imagine Can you imagine those three gentlemen on an episode of QI?
I feel like that's probably already a thing that's happened.
I don't know if it's a thing that's happened or not, but I know Stephen Fry used to be the host of QI.
Oh yeah, I would like to see him come back as the host of QI. Yeah.
Hugh Laurie might have come on there. Rowan Atkinson, he doesn't do a lot of that sort of stuff. He rarely does interviews. He disdains that sort of stuff. He finds it rather, what was the term? Vulgar. So yeah,
I can see that.
Like it's just that's just his thing. Like he did a interview on one of the TV shows, and he was talking about how he went to the Range Rover store, and one of the guys there was looking at him and saying, "You look so much like the guy who plays Mr. Bean." He goes, "Well, it's me." And he proceeded to have an argument with the guy that he actually was Rowan Atkinson. But yeah, he so rarely goes on any chat show or anything like that. That's just, or anything at all. He just doesn't make an appearance. He doesn't need to.
And to answer the question, and my earlier thing about Hugh Laurie appearing on QI, he has in the very first episode of QI, apparently.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I was pretty sure he had.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving along to our events of interest. On the 6th of January, 1873, Credit Mobilier of America scandal investigated by the House of Representatives. Or was it Congress? This led to the seizure of Oakes Ames of Massachusetts and James Brooks of New York. This scandal showed how corruption tainted Gilded Age politics and the lengths railroads and other economic interests would go to assure and increase profits.
Mm-hmm.
At one stage, I think, if I recall, James A. Garfield was also involved in the scandal as well.
And who's that?
He was one of the presidents, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was one of the presidents who didn't get a damn named after him. But the other thing that I found that was interesting about this was the financier and railroad promoter was Doc Durant, who's one of the central characters to the series Hell on Wheels. So, and it actually revolves around the whole investigation into Credit Mobilier.
Okay, so moving along. On the 6th of January 1912, German geophysicist Alfred Wegener first presents his theory of continental drift. He hypothesized that the continents are slowly drifting around the Earth. He suggested that the continents were once a single landmass and gradually drifted apart either because of a centrifugal force of the Earth's rotation or astronomical precession. Wegener also originally thought mid-ocean ridges may play some role since the Atlantic seafloor is continuously tearing open and making space for fresh, relatively fluid and hot material rising from depth. But he eventually abandoned those notions. And finally, on the 6th of January 1950, the United Kingdom recognizes the People's Republic of China. The Republic of China, presently known as Taiwan, severs diplomatic relations with the UK in response. So, anything else to add in before we wrap it up?
I think that's everything.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Musicals Taught Me Everything I Know, another fine podcast from That's Not Canon Productions. They had their screening of the movie Cats, the live adaptation.
Oh, I bet they must have been traumatized after that movie.
I think trauma is a bit of an understatement.
I don't know. There's lots of latex and body paint.
Anything else from me, Professor?
No, I have nothing to add.
Okay, so that's about it for this week. Where can they find us, Bucky?
Well, they can find us at good bookstores, shops.
I mean, where can they find the podcast?
Well, they can find the podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, the second-rate group. What's it? iTunes. Yeah, wherever good podcasts can be found. and not so good. We are on iTunes, and Apple sucks.
And that's all of our Apple fanboys.
Where else?
You guys might like them, but I'm not a fan of Apple.
Where else would they also find us, Bucky?
Well, they can find us on Facebook, as I was mentioning earlier. We have our Facebook page, and we have a group where we have discussions occasionally, and we encourage people to come and join us and get some discussion happening with each other and with my fellow co-hosts.
And sometimes our guests, like Sean from XTC.
Yes, or Luke from Sons of Obi-Wan, if he's not dreaming of Rey and Baby Yoda.
So they can also
Where else are we at? Twit?
Oh, Bucko, they can find us on Twitter at @Amalgamated. They can also find us on Instagram at Nerds Amalgamated, all in one word. If they got any feedback, they can also send us an email at nerds.amalgamated@gmail.com. And they can also find us on the That's Not Canon website, where we have an archive of our old episodes and merchandise. Lovely merchandise. Anyways, that's it for this week. Hope to see you soon.
Remember to look out for yourselves, take care of each other, and stay hydrated.
And we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Yeah,